Everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we are going to do a cool, awesome video. A couple of weeks ago I did a top 5 synchro monsters that I like, and today for you guys we're going to do a top 10 video on my top 10 favorite fusion monsters of all time. I did cheat a little when I got to number 1 and number 2. I did kind of bulk the monsters together because they're part of an archetype. But they're probably not the archetype you're thinking about. But yes, I just did cheat a little bit because I kept thinking, and I thought when I made the list, I was like, oh, it's going to be so easy. I know exactly what my top 10 favorite fusion monsters are. And then when I got to number 1 and number 2, I was like, oh, I can't. I like these just as much as I like these. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I bunched them together. But you'll see what I mean when I get to that point in time. So without further ado, guys, let's get started on my top 10 favorite monsters of all time. Number 10 being Gaia the Dragon Champion. This is a really cool old card that came out of Legend of Blue Eyes as a secret. As you can see here, I got it as a secret from way back then. This is an awesome card. I've always liked this card because he's the Dragon Champion. He's the champion of dragons. He's mastered dragons. I mean, for crying out loud, how awesome is that? I mean, he looks so beautiful as a secret. I have to admit, that guy, the Dragon Champion. You guys may know Gaia, the Dragon Champion, from the Yu-Gi-Oh anime and Duelist Kingdom. He brought down, I believe, he was put on Catapult Turtle, and then he took out Castle of Illusions. He also beat Weevil Underwood with this card. There's a couple times he pops up in the anime, and he's really awesome and badass. Also, one of my good friends, SS Jason 19, an old school Yu-Gi tuber from back in the day. He hasn't done a lot of videos lately, but his main deck that he loved showing off to people was his Gaia the Dragon Champion deck, and that's how I really became I just completely fell in love with this card, and I really enjoy the card. It's really fun to play around with. It's not meta in the least, but it's just so fun to play with. And he's actually getting a new fusion variation of himself, which is really cool, but I do love the original artwork of this guy. He looks so beautiful. Number 9 on my list is a card that I actually played a deck of. So I played this card in a deck ages ago. And I mean, like, in a bygone era of Yu-Gi-Oh! I played this card. Really. And that card would be Xyz Dragon Cannon. Now, people always make jokes of it when the XYZs first came out, that, the first XYZ monster really in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was these original XYZ monsters. We know that today, if you overlay to level 4s, level 3s, whatever levels, you can make an XYZ monster. But back in the day, these were the original XYZs. And I did play a deck of this because I did love Seto Kaiba, and it was a fun deck. I kind of based it off the anime and whatnot, using things like Return from a Different Dimension and things of that nature to make it easier to bring them all to the field so you could fusion summon for them. But the main one I loved going for out of all the XYZ fusions was Xyz Dragon Cannon. And it was the best. I actually pulled this card out of a pack back when I was a kid, and I was so excited that I did, and this is the card that got me started to build that deck. And I know a lot of you guys have asked me to rebuild this deck, because I've mentioned it throughout the course of me doing this channel, but I don't know where to begin on making a deck of this magnitude with this thing. I think it really needs new support. X-Head Cannon was great for its day because it had 18 attack. Y-Head, the dragon type of one, pretty much was pretty good because I think 17 or 16 attacks. So back for the Stone Age of Yu-Gi-Oh! The olden days, it was actually not that bad. But nowadays, it's really hard to make it work. And back then, I always felt like this was the original like Megazord type of deck, because you literally took different monsters and they fused together, and you literally could see the fusion on the monster itself. You could see the X head, the Y head, the Z head. You could see them all fused together. So it was really cool back then. But it was an awesome archetype. Plus, it was a light-based attribute, so you could pretty much put some darks in there and have BLS thrown in the deck and just go off. So there were some other cool things you could do back in the day with this deck, but it was really fun. And my favorite out of all of those fusions was Xyz Dragon Cannon. My next fusion is a fusion that came out, I guess you could say, earlier this year, last year, And it's a really fun fusion because it's a deck I really thoroughly enjoy as a fusion deck in this modern era of Yu-Gi-Oh! That is Fight for Tiger. I just got this guy a couple of weeks ago, and I've been playing Fight First for a long time, and I'm so happy that Fight for Tiger got the reprint because he's really the heart and soul of the deck in general. And I love the deck to death. I really do love Fight First because they're just so fun, the OTK centric, and they're kind of revolving around polymerization in a way, which is really awesome and really cool that Konami actually kind of made a pretty good deck that revolves around polymerization. You can use old polymerization type of cards like King of the Swamp to make the deck better and function better. So overall, this is one of my favorite fusions because of that reason and that archetype. But definitely, Fight for Tiger is my number 8. My number 7, guys, is going to be Shaddoll Construct. Now, I was debating if I should put this on the list, really, because if that was the case, I would have put Thousand Eyes Restrict on the list, too, maybe somewhere as, as number 10, but I love Gaia a little bit more than Thousand Eyes Restrict when I started doing some soul searching, really. But Shaddoll Construct had to go on this list. No matter that she's banned or not, I really do love her. She's an amazing card. She really made the Shaddoll deck what it was in its heyday, and I think if she just came back to 1, it would be fine. So I'm hoping within the next year or so she does come back to 1. Not to make Shaddolls meta, but just to make them more playable in general, which would be nice to have. Because Shaddoll Construct was what made the world go around. It had the best light attribute, the attribute of light really made the deck work better because you could use light attributes and whatnot. But Shaddoll Construct is my number 7, guys. My number 6 is an old school card that has a lot of nostalgia for me, and that is the original Black Skull Dragon. This is one I actually pulled on Christmas when I think I was like Christmas of 2003, I think it was. Or, no, excuse me, Christmas of 2002. Because I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Had just come out, so yeah, this would have been the Christmas of 2002. I actually pulled this, and I pulled a Toon World, a Super Toon World, which I was so psyched about at the time. But Black Skull Dragon, apologize for the phone going off, guys, but Black Skull Dragon is one of my favorites. Watching it in the anime, I really like this card because it was kind of showing the friendship between Joey and Yugi. The card overall has been really fun to play with throughout the years of Yu-Gi-Oh! I never really summoned this card that much. Back in the day, back when I didn't know any better, I used to just summon this card for fun and just attack with it as a joke. But yes, it's a really cool card. I mean, the one reason I really loved this card is because it could get over Blue Eyes White Dragon. I did run kind of a Red Eyes fun deck for a couple of weeks, and back then, in the early 2003, I think it was, and pretty much I just go poly, make this using the Summon Skull in my hand, which I had on the field with the Red Eyes, go into this, and if a person had a Blue Eyes out on the field, I'd just run over it. But it was such a powerful card for back then. Granted, over the years, I haven't played it as much, and this is pretty much the reason why I felt I like Red Eyes is because of Black Skull Dragon. Granted, I think he's now called Archfiend Skull Dragon or something. I don't know because of Summon Skull got his name changed, but I like the original name, Black Skull Dragon. So badass, so awesome. He beat freaking Gate Guardian pretty much in the anime. So awesome. The next one for my number 5, guys, is Ritual Beast Altite Apelio. I was thinking of putting Ab-Zero on this list as well. That was another card I was thinking about because I loved old heroes, but I was never really a fan of old school heroes because of what they did with Airblade Turbo for like a week or two. And I think that YCS, no, that would be in the SJC St. Louis. And I just never was a fan of the old hero archetype until, like, I guess you could say heroes got put in Teledad and that type of era when Stratos came out. Old school heroes I did not like, so that's why you don't see really that many old school hero fusions on this list. But Ritual Beast Altite Galiperio is my favorite Ritual Beast fusion. I do play the deck. I haven't profiled it for you guys because I don't know what to make of the deck ever since Hawk got hit to 1. I may revisit the deck coming into 2016. We will see. But as of right now, by far, my favorite fusion because of its artwork and its beauty is definitely Ritual Beast Altite Apelio. I love the artwork of this card. Out of all the Ritual Beast fusions, which they all look really pretty in their own way, it is definitely this one. This just looks so beautiful because it has, I believe it's Laura. I think Laura is riding Apelio. So, looks so badass. And the card just in general, the effect is amazing, but definitely this is my favorite fusion out of that archetype. For my number 4, guys, it's going to be 5-headed God Dragon. This is a card that at some point in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was one of the most scariest cards to face against. This is back when Chaos Dragons were a thing, and pretty much this card was very expensive at the time. People would go instant fusion, not instant fusion, excuse me, future fusion. So you go future fusion, jump your dragons, drop a 5-headed dragon, and you were just sitting there going, oh my gosh, how am I going to go get over this 5-headed dragon? In the OCG, his name is 5-headed God Dragon, so if you've ever heard people refer to 5-headed God Dragon, it's 5-headed dragon. They just changed the name when it came over here because you can't have God in the name of a card. The card's awesome. They summoned this card in the anime, the Big 5, and I've played with this card throughout the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! History, ever since it came out. Originally, I played this card with Horus Black Flame Dragon because I would pretty much use Dragon Mirror, and because it was a Dragon-esque deck, you just activate Dragon Mirror, drop 5-headed God Dragon, attack. With Solidarity, he could get upwards of 6,000 attacks, so it was just a big, huge beat stick that could beat over things and just win you games outright with one attack. And he is such a strong monster. I personally feel like, in my personal opinion, I think he's like one of the strongest big monsters you can get out in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Easily. You can play this in multiple different types of dragon decks, but he's kind of like a dragon boss monster because you can just put Dragon's Mirror and he's an ace card that you can bring out. And I've always loved him ever since he originally came out. For my number 3, guys, it is Darkwall. I was thinking of grouping Absolute Zero in this category with Darkwall, but because they're pretty much, I guess you could say, I actually thought about it and I said, no, Ab-Zero, I think you're a completely different league than how much I love Darkwall, because Darkwall is a meta deck for me, and I've always loved Darkwall. I've always thought of him as Batman in the Yu-Gi-Oh!, I guess you could say, world of heroes, and I've loved playing Darkwall in different type of decks with Mass Change Second, using Mass Change Second on a Grapha or another Dark World monster to get a Grapha and this card out on the field, and rip cards from your opponent's hand by acting things like Drag Down and whatnot, and just so many different ways I've abused this card over the course of him coming out over a year ago now exactly, and I've always loved him. He's a great card. He's such a fun card to play around with, and such a good, solid card. That's why he's my number 3 favorite fusion monster in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. For my number 2, it's actually a collection of cards. It's pretty much the Dark Magician cards, fusion cards. Your Dark Paladins, I have 2 alternative artworks here. I'll show for you guys. Your Amulet Dragon, and the number 1 by far is definitely Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. Oh, she looks so beautiful. But these are by far my 3. Dark Magician Knight, followed by Dark Paladin and Amulet Dragon, are my favorite fusions because I love the Dark Magician fusions using Eye of Timaeus. A lot of people have asked me lately, hey, is there a build you can make without Amulet Dragon? And personally, if you want to make the deck good and solid, you really need the Eye of Timaeus to make the deck really good. But by far, one of my favorite fusions of all time, and I guess you could say my second favorite group of fusions of all time. Pretty much, this is the main fusion deck I play a lot, next to Heroes, Ritual Beast, Shaddolls, etc., and Fight Furs as well. This is one of the main ones I play, and I play it a lot, because a lot of people ask to play against it, or want to play against it when I meet them, or at locals. They just want to play against it for fun, with their fun deck, because I'm the only one that really has, I think besides Suji, that actually has, like, the Dark Magician deck with its Eye of Timaeus. So for fun, I like playing this deck a lot. And Dark Paladin can get super huge. If you're going against a dragon type of deck, you drop this. Honestly, I mean, I'd be interested to see some people play with the new Buster Blader support and try to make this maybe. Amulet Dragon is just a very good solid fusion. If it dies, you get Dark Magician out. He's a big beater. And this is spot removal, and she's so beautiful at doing it. But that's why those are my number 2. And I did lump the Dark Magician fusions together because I really couldn't choose it between them because they're all equally amazing. Though Dark Magician Night Girl is probably the favorite because of her artwork. For my number 1 favorite fusion of all time, you guys probably saw this coming. There's the back. As you can see, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and there's the front. Yes. Me and my brother, for Christmas, our dad got us, without me knowing, a Show and Jump manga for my brother and me. And I didn't know at the time that Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon had come out. I just hadn't been paying attention to the Show and Jump mangas saying, hey, next month, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon's coming out. Didn't pay attention. But as it was, that Christmas, whenever I forget what year he came out, me and my brother got a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and from the Show and Jump manga, and that's what this one's from. And not too long, a couple years later, I guess you could say when the Yugi's Collection World came out, I got the Dragon Master Knight. And I've been so excited to get both of these guys. I've always wanted to build a deck revolving around these two, but I haven't found a build to get to revolve around these two. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is my favorite, but every time I think of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, I always think of Dragon Master Knight right beside him because he's so badass and he looks so amazing. But like I said, guys, this is definitely my number one. I know a lot of you guys have asked me to build a deck revolving around Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and with the new Blue Eyes support coming out, I may do it for you guys. I may try and play around with it, but I still need, I'm probably going to test it, do some research on it, see what other people have been doing with the Blue Eyes Ultimate builds, and maybe I'll profile for you guys that sometime in 2016. Okay? But the Dragon Master Knight is just so awesome. This is how they defeated Five-Headed God Dragon. It's an amazing card. It's such a fun card to play around with. I've brought it out twice in my Yu-Gi-Oh career, and it was so fun, and it did win me the game both times, and it was overkill. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon I brought out a couple times back in the day. There's an old profile on my channel of me trying to play like this old Blue Eyes deck from like 2013. Like early 2013. And I was playing Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, but that was a long time ago. But guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like I said, I love my fusions. There's some fusions I love more than others, but still, there's just so many fun fusions out there in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Nowadays, and what can I say? They're fun to play with fusions. But tell me guys down below, what are some of your favorite fusions of all time in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And until next time guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, and I hope all of you enjoyed this video. Take care everybody the next time, and good luck dueling to all of you. And go Fusion Monsters.